Trump's tariff hammer drops. Dozens of countries with sticker shock this morning as new trade rates kick in. What it means for global markets and your wallet. Plus, where were they? Texas officials on the hot seat after that deadly July 4th flood in Hill Country.
Everyone was here that day working their ass off, and you were nowhere to be found.
The admission from one leader that's raising even more questions. And 90,000 square feet, a little more space and a lot more ballroom coming to the White House. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Midnight has come and gone, and so has the guessing game. President Trump has signed the paperwork, and the global trade map has officially been redrawn. In a late-night executive order, the president unveiled his long-promised reciprocal tariffs, hitting about 70 countries with new import taxes, ranging from 10% to 41%. A handful of nations, like the UK, Japan, the EU, South Korea, and Vietnam, struck last-minute deals. Others, like Canada, woke up to stiff penalties, 35% tariffs after Donald Trump blamed Ottawa for failing to cooperate. Nations without new deals now have about 1 week until August 7th to negotiate or face full rates. Syria, Laos, and Myanmar, they're already facing the max, 40 to 41%. In all, 26 countries are now facing tariffs higher than 15%. Donald Trump's not just taxing origin countries, he's targeting transshipped goods also. Anyone or anything that looks like they're trying to dodge the rules gets slapped with a 40% tariff. The White House says this is the new era, quote, fair and balanced trade over efficiency at all costs. But with confusion at the ports, court challenge is underway, and prices already rising, the fallout could come fast. President Trump's special envoy has boots on the ground in Israel, and he's already crossed into Gaza. As the humanitarian crisis deepens, the White House is sending a message. More aid is coming. Real estate developer turned envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Israel Thursday, meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, then making a rare crossing into southern Gaza, alongside U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee. The White House says the two are touring aid distribution sites in Rafah, meeting directly with Palestinians, and finalizing a new U.S. plan to get more food into the Gaza Strip. Witkoff is expected to brief Donald Trump immediately after the visit, with an aid package likely to be announced today. The visit comes after at least 91 people were killed while trying to reach food trucks. That's according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Israel denies responsibility, saying its troops only fired warning shots and blames gunfire within the crowd. Still, video shows wounded Palestinians getting hauled away in carts, with hospitals quickly overwhelmed. Witkoff's trip marks the first direct talks with Netanyahu since truce negotiations collapsed last week, and it comes as the U.S. ramps up pressure on both Israel and Hamas to reach a deal and end the war. He heads to Russia next. Elsewhere, Texas lawmakers demanded answers, and grieving families cried out for justice as the man in charge during the state's deadliest flooding in decades finally broke his silence. The Kerr County emergency coordinator admitted he was sick and asleep when the July 4th floods hit along the Guadalupe River, killing more than 130 people, including children, at a local summer camp. William W. Thomas testified Thursday in a packed, emotional hearing, his first public comments since the floods. He said he did not wake up until it was too late.
To those who ask, what would you have done differently? The honest answer is that, based on the data we had at the time, there was no clear indicator that a catastrophic flood was imminent. The rain fell in remote areas with limited gauge data. Forecasts were not materially different from past events that did not result in flooding. The situation evolved faster than anyone could have predicted.
Families described the terror of watching floodwaters swallow homes and camps, including Camp Mystic, where 27 girls and staff died. Lawmakers demanded answers, grilling not just Thomas, but the county judge and the sheriff, none of whom were present when the emergency began. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick delivered a blunt rebuke to Kerr County's top official.
I don't know where you were on day one on July 4th, but you should have been here. You should have been here directing that response. That's your responsibility. I just want to set the record straight. Everyone was here that day working their ass off, and you were nowhere to be found.
Critics say the lack of local alerts cost lives. Thomas said he relied on National Weather Service warnings and did not issue an evacuation order. The hearing comes as the state considers new laws, including flood siren systems and better forecasting tools to hopefully prevent another tragedy. Kamala Harris is speaking and back making the rounds, this time not on the campaign trail, but from the late night stage. The former vice president joined Stephen Colbert on The Late Show last night, her first interview since losing to Donald Trump last fall. Her appearance comes on the heels of two big headlines. She announced she won't be running for California governor in 2026, and she just released a new book, 107 Days, chronicling her brief run as Democratic nominee for president. On the show, Harris didn't hold back, calling out lawmakers who she says are letting Donald Trump do whatever he wants.
We designed our democracy with three independent, co-equal branches of government. I mean, when you see that the president of the United States is trying to get rid of the Department of Education, and Congress has the role and responsibility to stand in the way of that, and they're just sitting on their hands and then they go on recess because they don't want to deal with transparency?
Yeah. And the Supreme Court.
Her new book hits shelves next month. And yes, Harris is still keeping a full public schedule, even as questions swirl about her next move. Well, he's been talking about it for years, and now Donald Trump is finally building it. The White House says construction begins this September on a massive new state ballroom, 90,000 square feet, with room for 650 guests. Can you imagine having a wedding reception there? And who's footing the bill? According to Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, President Trump himself, along with, quote, patriot donors.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure. I have provided some photos for all of you in the room today. This is the interior of the ballroom space. It's quite beautiful. And then this is the exterior of the ballroom space. As you can see, it will come off of the executive mansion as it sits today, and the east wing will be modernized and renovated.
This will be the most expensive renovation under Trump so far, even more than the pave-over at the Rose Garden, the Golden Oval Office, or those towering flagpoles outside. The ballroom will sit where the East Wing is now, meaning offices, including the First Lady's, will be temporarily relocated. Trump's been pitching this idea for over a decade, even calling the Obama White House back in 2010 to offer his services. Now he's making good on that promise and putting his stamp on the People's House. Finally this morning, how about this? A tale of two tubers. It turns out your favorite French fry is part tomato. Who knew? Scientists say the modern potato actually evolved from an ancient tomato ancestor nearly 9 million years ago. Wow. You can say it ketchuped with evolution. That's good writing. And sprouted into something totally new. Researchers cracked the case by digging through hundreds of wild potato genomes and found that a tomato gene gave the spud its tuber growing superpower. So the next time you're enjoying fries on the side or chips and salsa, remember, you're really just reuniting long-lost relatives. Mash that into your weekend plans. By the way, what's your favorite way to eat potatoes? Me? I love steak fries, slightly undercooked, so good. And a big old beefsteak tomato sliced with tons of salt. Yum. Sorry, Doc. Before we head out, here's what we're tracking today. At 9 this morning, the final day of hearings into that terrifying mid-air collision over the Potomac gets underway. At 11:30, weather permitting, a SpaceX rocket lifts off, carrying astronauts from NASA, Japan, and Russia to the space station. At 2:30, rapper Busta Rhymes gets his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And at 3 p.m., a federal appeals court takes up the fight over birthright citizenship and Donald Trump's executive order. By the way, if you want even more unbiased updates, be sure to sign up for our newsletter. It's delivered straight to your inbox each weekday morning. Just the facts, no fluff. Go to san.com/newsletters. Those are your unbiased updates for this Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a fantastic weekend.